Suns when they were down 10 points in the third quarter, assisted them, led them to victory, and the Suns walk away with a 17-point victory in Game 1. Welcome to the Suns Solar Panel and the Suns Jam Session podcast. My name is John, a.k.a. Darth Voida. I'm joined by Matthew Lissy and Espo. Gents, how are we feeling tonight?
Ahoy, hoy, doing great. Could you feel any better?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, I was telling you guys before we came on, like I was stomping and yelling. Like when Torrey Craig had that dunk on the alley-oop, I started stomping and yelling. My dogs just started barking at me, and I can only assume they were saying "Let's go, Suns" or "Shut the fuck up." So it's one of the two, but it was it's probably both at the same time. So, but what a fantastic game! Plenty to dissect because we saw kind of Game 1 is a feel 'em out game. See what the opposition's going to provide relative to defensive sets, how the Suns are going to try to attack those, and vice versa. We have a preview of how the series might potentially play out. We just, lifted by that amazing crowd at Phoenix Suns Arena tonight, the Suns went on hit 17 to 22 shots and pulled away. Don't expect every game in this series, I think, to be a blowout.
I think that's safe to say.
We definitely saw in the first half what this series could be. But it's nice as a Suns fans, last 3 playoff games, we've won by 30, 14, and now 17. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
That is just absolutely fantastic.
They're feeling it, and this is the offense we saw earlier in the year, and that's what we were hoping would show up in the playoffs, and it's here now.
It's here, it's rocking, and so are we. So before we get into the show, I just want to remind everybody to go ahead and subscribe, whether you're watching on the Suns Solar Panel or you're watching on the Suns Jam Session podcast YouTube feeds. Hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to become an elite jamster or a flaming baller, hit the join button as well. The more times you do that, the more opportunities you can buy tickets for Matthew, Espo, and I so we can go to these games and come to you live from the sidelines right after. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Suns Jam. I'm at Darth Voida. He's Matthew Lissy.
At Matthew Lissy. Yeah.
And Espo is
at Espo.
Too easy. Too easy. One of those 4-letter words is fantastic. The best 4-letter word out there. So on that, one of them. On that note, is anybody cracking a beer with me tonight, or am I just?
I got one. I'd actually
Matthew
do that one.
Paul Lissy. I'm proud.
It might be a prop. It might be a prop. But
okay. All right, Invisalign. Well, let's see the prop. What are you drinking tonight? Oh, a Four Peaks Sunbrew.
Sunbrew. Sorry, Sunburst.
There you go. I've got a Four Peaks Wow Wheat, my last one.
All right.
And Espo.
Perfect. I've got absolutely nothing for you. I apologize. The fridge is bare.
Oh no, we got to change that. See, that's why you have to become a flaming baller by clicking join, so we can get a beer in Espo's hand. Yes, but on that note, everybody, crack them if you got them. And let's go, Suns. And here's a new song brought to you by Zanzor.
I want to hear you scream. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs. Hey. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs. Yeah. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs. Hey. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs. Yeah. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs. Hey. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs. Yeah. Mug the nugs, my mug the nugs.
All right, that gets me jacked up. I'm ready to go. And then I see this game, and I'm even more ready to go. And then it happens. The Suns come out and beat the Denver Nuggets by a final score of 122 to 105. Espo, what's your just kind of initial takeaway from Game 1? And then we'll delve even deeper.
Well, look, the backcourt's going to be the difference maker in this series, and we saw it when CP3 decided it was time to take over. The Suns took over the game in and of itself. The backcourt is going to want to being what pushes the pace and controls the offense for this Suns team in this series. And, we talked about it. Torrey Craig will be a key. He played fantastic in Game 1, but props to the 2 young guys, Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton, who came out and did everything and more that they needed him to. DeAndre went toe-to-toe with the Joker, and Dat Man wound up basically nullifying anything that Nikola Jokic did. And the Mikal Bridges on the defensive side was fantastic, as always. On the offensive side was spectacular. This was peak Suns, even without Devin Booker playing his best game. You saw this offense hit the level that we thought they could in that second half. And that third quarter was kind of like where you tell the kid, hey, you're not going to get dessert if you don't finish your food. And all of a sudden, bam, they finish that food real quick because they know the end is near and something nice is on the way. And hey, they figured it out and they got it done. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And the real NBA Coach of the Year winner led the Suns to victory tonight. All right. Whatever happened with the voting was BS. He is the real Coach of the Year. But these series, these games, every other series is a bunch of blowout games. So I thought this game was actually going to be close. And as fun as that is, it's a very nerve-wracking, of course, for Suns fans. And the Suns did what they wanted to do in the fourth quarter. They pulled away. Chris Paul looked like old Chris Paul this season. That is the best takeaway I have from this game. He absolutely looks marvelous, dude. And he is back to prime A, dude. He is exactly the guy that began the season and led us to the second best record in the West. His jump shot's back, the three-pointer. His defense, too, where he's pulling the chair away from everybody and doing what he wanted to do against Austin Rivers to get the steal. It's stuff like that. It led one thing after another, which is a perfect game.
Yeah, I think, in its totality, this game, you saw so many different facets of the Suns and how they're going to have to attack this team and the defense that the Denver Nuggets were going to deploy. And, I'll get into that here in a little bit. But again, the atmosphere again in downtown Phoenix was fantastic. Joining us live from the arena, Saul, how was it in there today, man? I mean, you guys were loud.
Dude, it was nuts. Like, I've never been a part of anything like that before in my life. It was just so crazy. When CP3 hit the three, I thought, oh my God, he can't get any louder than this. And then the alley-oop, holy crap. I was in a suite. I almost jumped out of the suite and broke everything I had in my body. It was so freaking awesome.
Saul is now in the holding cell in the basement of the arena. Yeah. Apparently got a little too rowdy out there.
Yeah. Last time I didn't have great reception, so once I had 4 bars on my phone, I was like, oh, let me stop. Let me tell you guys exactly what it felt like in that arena. Dude, Suns fans, I think they understand the more and more they show up and the louder they get, this team absolutely feeds on it. And it's just great to see.
Yeah, when you have a young team like the Phoenix Suns and they have that home court advantage and you have a team or a fan base that's we are a basketball town, and those who are tuning in and watching on YouTube live with us, or if you're listening on the podcast tomorrow, you're a true fan, and the way that everybody gets loud in that arena is something that Matthew and I experienced in Game 5 against the Lakers, and it looked like it was even more bonkers tonight. And when the Suns were down 10, I think a lot of Suns fans got that kind of feeling like we keep fighting back, we're continuing to try to force the issue. We're trying to do some of those things that are detrimental to our success. Taking some of those threes, those untimely threes, not having the ability to execute on the offensive end. And then all of a sudden, Mikal Bridges holds the offense together just long enough in the third quarter for the rest of the team to kind of catch up. And next thing you know, the Suns put on a 16-0 run. They make 17 of 22 consecutive shots. And literally, my wife walks away, and she comes back, and she's like, what's going on? I'm like, we're going to the fourth quarter. Suns are up 15. She's like, they were just down 10. I'm
How
like,
many times has that happened to you this season, right?
That's the Phoenix Suns. My dad called me. It's what I told him. I go, that's the Phoenix Suns. Resiliency, the ability to score from inside the arc is what makes this team special. Is they're not a team that's going to sit there and just try to pump threes all night long. If the three ball's there, fantastic. We saw that against the Lakers in the last 2 games. But in a game tonight when the three ball wasn't necessarily falling, where they were shooting about a 33% clip at one point, they're like, let's just start attacking the interior and hitting the mid-range shot and doing all these things that are going to allow us to at least keep, stay in the game. And then conversely, you see Denver try to go ahead and do that same thing. They start shooting the threes and not making them.
That's the one thing that I really wanted to see tonight. DA, and for those of you who couldn't see on TV, DA had Campazzo on him 3 different times, and they didn't even look his way. And this was in the third quarter when the Nuggets were making a run. Again, I've been saying all postseason, sometimes you just got to let DA calm the offense down and give him some easy buckets down low in order to kind of pace this team. But luckily, Mikal Bridges and company stepped up. y'all, it's been fun. I'm gonna get out of here. I just wanted to pipe in.
All right.
Give you guys-
Well, how was Jimmy Eat World? Was it good?
dude. First of all, wrong demographic to talk about, Jimmy.
Okay.
No. Let's
All
ask
right.
the important
I
question.
didn't ask.
How was it hanging out with Guy Fieri? Because we assume you got to spend some time with Guy since he was out there.
I did not.
No.
I was up.
All right.
I was in the upper back. I was in the suite. Sorry, guys.
You disappoint
All
me.
right.
Go away now. So
See you guys. Bye.
Take care, Saul. Thanks for stopping in, man.
it's
There you go.
Flavor Town in Phoenix with a PH, boys.
Thank you, Saul, for stopping in. You can follow him, Saul_Bookman on Twitter. Glad that he got to experience that and be a part of what went down there tonight. I'm going to mention something that Matthew kind of mentioned. I'm going to mention something he mentioned. I'm going to reference something he mentioned. This game started with the news prior to, probably about an hour prior to tip-off that Monty didn't win Coach of the Year as voted on by the media. Now, he did win the coaches and players Coach of the Year voting. Do you think at any point this was a fuel for the Suns' fire, or do they not need those kind of headlines to get up for games like this?
I can't imagine that they need those headlines at this point. This is a team that seems to fuel itself without that additional stuff. The craziest thing about that, about the Coach of the Year, is Monty Williams had the most first place votes. He had 45 first place votes, and Thibodeau had 43. It was the back half people not putting him in second in a handful of ballots that was the difference. It's the stupidest thing in the world. If you're voted the most first place votes, you should be the damn award winner. I don't understand it.
And honestly, a lot of people were saying, well, it's Chris Paul. I think, that hurt him in a way just because he was a big leader on the court and in the locker room too. But that's just BS because, the way Phoenix was before he got here, Monty, even last season was terrible. We even noticed a change last season with him without Chris Paul. So he deserves almost all the credit for what he's done here. And like you said, they don't need this vote to not go their way to give them the momentum to go into this game and do something about it. They already have a chip on their shoulder. Monty doesn't let them rest for 1 second. That's what makes him the Coach of the Year, man. Going into the playoffs, no one's really needed a reason. He just makes them play team basketball and to play their best basketball out there every night, every game.
Now, I'll tell you this, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter, no. And everybody will sit there and be like, we're not focused on Coach of the Year. We're focused on NBA championship. But when you look back, and so much of us have, and especially during the pandemic, when we were doing podcasts about pretty much nothing because there was nothing to cover for, 8 months, but we still put out like 3 a week. We would go back and you look at some of the historical numbers and, players and coaches and what they've done. And that does matter in the grand scheme of things. When you're looking at Hall of Fame guys and guys who get in, you'll sit there and say, well, that coach was, he had X amount of record. He made X amount of playoff appearances. He won the Coach of the Year X amount of times. And, Monty, again, he gets it from the players and the coaches. So the guys who know the league are like, yeah, he's the best head coach. That's the disadvantage of some of the media guys. We know that. I forget who it is. Espo or Matthew, maybe you can correct me. The guy who voted for Rudy Gobert number 2 overall in the MVP. Where's Dave? He knows this kind of shit.
I
I'm
don't know.
blanking.
But,
No idea.
somebody did it. There's always that. There's those guys in the media who just like for their own personal, agendas have to vote awkwardly. And that's what a lot of people did is they voted awkwardly because they didn't put Monty number 2. They were like, well, the Jazz had the best record. So, my rule that I always have is whoever has the best record is either the top coach or the second top coach. And therefore it cost Monty a Coach of the Year nod that is going to go on his basketball reference page. And again, those things are important relative to that. In the moment, no, it doesn't matter. The Suns don't need to get up for a game to kind of defend their plighted coach. That's not how this team is built. They're built in every aspect of the word team. Like I can't say it more definitively than that. They are a team. You look at how this game started, and for the first 3 quarters, it was frustrating because the Denver Nuggets started each quarter on runs. They had a 12-4 run to start the game. They had a 10-3 run to start the second and a 12-3 run to start Q3. And, is that something that we should be concerned about moving forward, or is that just, kind of the Suns catching their footing?
Well, first,
go ahead, Espo.
I just want to say, when it comes to Coach of the Year and all that and the basketball reference pages, what really is going to matter is you're going to see Tibbs is home right now, and Monty Williams just won his first game in the semi-final round.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Tibbs can enjoy his trophy
Yes.
while he's not doing jack for the
Yes.
next 2 months. And hopefully Monty's coaching well into July, and none of this matters a month from now. So, you know what? Congratulations, Tibbs. Enjoy your trophy. Monty Williams has got more to do.
All right, so Dave King has joined the podcast. Dave, we just talked to Saul, I think, from the holding cell underneath the arena because he got a little too crazy in the suites, I guess, tonight.
Nice.
We welcome you. How was the feel inside that arena, and what do you think about Monty Williams not getting Coach of the Year?
All right,
That's where we're at in the podcast.
You probably already heard from Saul that it was crazy in here, unless he's been in the holding cell the entire game. I have not heard this crowd this loud since they were probably the Madhouse on McDowell. I mean, that is just crazy. Now, I'm probably selling short the 7 seconds or less crowds, maybe even the late Barkley crowds. That's fine, whatever. But this place was nuts. It was absolutely exploding in here. I definitely haven't heard anything like this since Steve Nash left. This is just incredible. As far as Monty not winning Coach of the Year, I love the way he took it. About 10 minutes after the announcement came out, he did his pregame press conference. He spent the whole time going, you know what? Hey, I'm just happy to be there. I'm just happy to be in the conversation. That's great. It doesn't really bother me, you know. He already won. His coaches already voted him Coach of the Year. His own peers already voted him Coach of the Year. Who cares what the freaking media thinks? I mean, I'm not always proud to be part of the media. And this is one of those days where I'm not proud. You could do an analysis on the time zones of the voters. You could do an analysis of the age of the voters. And Monty even said, look, I don't fit the profile of a Coach of the Year. I don't know what he quite meant by that because he was saying, well, I wasn't a point guard as a former player. I don't know what you're talking about, Monty, but I think he just meant that he's not a guy who's been deserving for a while, and guys who haven't been deserving for a while or don't have that rep don't get the votes from media, I guess. I don't know. So it doesn't bother me. He is coaching just as Espo said, he's coaching in the second round of the playoffs, and the other guy is not.
Hey, look, I remember those years of Tom Thibodeau leading those amazing offenses as a point guard. So I get what Monty's saying with
That's why I didn't quite understand his answer, but he was going down the road.
and don't worry, Dave, the media feels the same way about you being part of it as you being part of the media.
Hey, I would too if I was them.
We got some Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather stuff going on here.
Just really lame punches. Yes.
No, I'm good.
Dave, when you looked at it, what surprised you the most, or what was most important to the Suns having that turnaround? I mean, they were down 10 to the Nuggets.
What was the most important to the turnaround? It was so obvious. Right when they got down 9-10 points, I tweeted, "Hey, I'd like the Suns to play better." And you know what? They'd started doing it. I did the reverse jinx. It was
hashtag analysis.
Thank you. You saw the tweet.
Yes, I did.
That was it. Hashtag analysis. And you know what? They went on the 16-0 run that turned into, I don't know, felt like a 100-0 run. Nikola Jokic was frustrated. DeAndre Ayton was floating around on that court like a sting like a butterfly, float like a bee, whatever it is. I don't know. I got it backwards.
Yeah, something like that.
Ayton's whatever he wants to be out there. Yeah, that was such a great game. Mikal Bridges, what they did in the second half is they switched Aaron Gordon onto Devin Booker. They put Austin Rivers onto Chris Paul primary unless they were switching. But what that meant is they stuck Campazzo on Mikal Bridges. And guess what? Mikal Bridges explodes for an awesome second half. So the Suns are making the right reads and they're making the right adjustments based on what Denver can do. Denver's got limitations there. And you know what? Denver's going to make new adjustments next game. And Espo and I are going to be talking to actually the lead of Denver Stiffs tonight on a post-game podcast where we're going to talk about each side's adjustments going into game two. Because as Monty said just now in his post-game press conference, every game is a different animal. We saw it in the Lakers series, hopefully not injury related, hopefully just play and adjustments related. And now we're going to see it. Now we're going to see it in the next game. It'll look totally different than this one did. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how, but I feel like the Suns are in a good position to make adjustments. Mike Malone's a pretty darn good coach too, so he's going to make his own adjustments.
Well, very importantly, how was Jimmy Eat World? at halftime.
You know what, man? I am in that age range where I was mouthing the words. So,
So it was good, huh?
yeah, they were pretty good. I'm also one of those old timers who goes, yeah, I like the recorded version better, because these guys always would do different inflections live, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
of course, I know he's sung that song probably 1,500 times, and he's got to make some changes to it. And I was sitting there going, I'd rather you do the old version, but I do, I did like it. It was fun.
Good.
Dave, do you got a stat for us? You want to stat me at all?
I got to. Oh God, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Hold
go
on.
ahead. Go ahead.
Let me hit it.
Go ahead.
Dave, stat me.
The Suns were down 9, and they called a timeout and went on a 16-0 run to just take a 79-72 lead. And then going into the fourth quarter, after losing the first, second, and third quarters coming out of the gate, going down by 8 each freaking time, 8 or 10 each freaking time, Chris Paul comes out and says, not tonight, not in the fourth quarter. I'm Chris Paul. You might have forgotten who I am, but I'm Chris Paul. And he came out there, and the Suns just blew the doors off him and went up by 18 before Denver knew what happened.
That's a decent stat. I got another stat for you. Okay, that
Give
was
me a
decent.
better
Like, all right, so
Stat
it starts
me,
off.
Darth.
It starts with
Aiton Watch 2021.
So here's a stat for you. DeAndre Ayton, who ended the night with a total of 20 points, 10 rebounds on 9 for 13 shooting. He had 9 field goal attempts in the first half. There's 29 games this season where he had 9 or less field goal attempts the entire game. Boom, you have been statted. DeAndre Ayton was fantastic in this game. They were mentioning it on the broadcast, which was a rough broadcast to watch. It was Reggie Miller, and who was with him?
Kevin Harlan.
Kevin Harlan.
You didn't like it?
No, because Kevin Harlan was like, oh, look at Bridges. He reminds me of Patrick Peterson, who plays here in the Valley. It's like, no, he plays for Minnesota.
Oh.
He lost me right there. You lost me right there, dude. Didn't
know,
do your
recent,
research.
Though, man.
Don't care.
Reggie Miller repeating himself every
Yes.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
Lost
Yes.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, not the greatest of broadcasts overall. But one thing
Was
that
it
they
on
did-
Valley Sports though, or no?
No, I didn't see it on
Oh,
Rally
okay.
the Valley
Well,
Valley
all right.
with a chick named Sally. I didn't see it there.
It's only on national the rest of the way.
Ah,
Okay.
that sucks.
First round
but
is the
man,
only round that the local
You
gets.
guys, if you weren't in here, I guess you guys weren't here. But man, that when Devin Booker struck the pose,
Oh
after he
yes.
got fouled on the
Yes.
three,
Then he
this
missed the free throw.
stadium went crazy.
As well, it should.
Just pandemonium. This is the new Madhouse. It's the Madhouse on Jefferson. Doesn't rhyme as well. So maybe it's the Jam House on Jefferson.
Oh, the Jam House on
Oh.
Jefferson, dude.
Now,
Okay.
now
Gotta make
you're
another
just naming
shirt.
it after other podcasts. Way to go, Dave. It couldn't be the panel on Jefferson. No, all right, fine.
The panel on 3rd Street, like we're trying.
We can call it the Jam House.
The
On
Jam House.
Jefferson,
Now I got to make
fine.
another shirt. But DeAndre Ayton, one thing that Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller got right in this game was the performance that he put forth was essentially a wash with the MVP. You look at Jokic overall, 22 points, 10 for 23 shooting. So 22 points on 23 shots. He had 9 rebounds and only 3 assists in this game. Had a couple steals, had 3 blocks in this game.
He was
I
getting
think
really frustrated.
He
because
was.
He wasn't getting his foul calls.
Exactly.
And you know what? I look back, and everyone thinks that Jokic draws a ton of fouls. You know what? Denver is almost as bad as the Suns at drawing fouls. They were like 27th in the league, and the Suns are 28th. And Jokic only averages 5.5 free throws a game. Yeah, that's twice what DA gets, but it's less than Devin Booker gets. So he doesn't get a ton of foul calls because he just moves his bulk so deliberately. It looks like he's just going where he wanted to go in the first place. So he was getting really frustrated. But you know what? He's getting frustrated with his own misses and the Suns' swarming defense. They did a really good job in the second half.
Yeah, DA did such a good job at just keeping a distance too on defense from Jokic, like not being too up on him and just, keeping the arms up and his feet moving. That was the best thing about DA tonight, I thought, just his defense on Jokic. Him finishing at the rim was perfect. I mean, getting the and ones was nice, but Also, I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity too under the rim, like for him. I'm just saying, like, go look at the tape. I don't think anybody can
Yeah,
stop him
don't
down
crap
there.
on him after tonight.
No,
Come on,
I'm not. I'm not crapping on him. I'm saying there's just sometimes
That's-
where like he's by Jokic underneath the rim, and I think he could just do more under there. I don't think he knows he can until he goes back and watches film. Like, all right, so in this certain situation, do this, do that. You know, just
Yeah,
just
he
look at
could
the
have
film a
shot
little bit.
perfect tonight. Damn it! Why didn't he?
Guys, hey, wait, is this the
Yeah.
first game in which Ayton has had 2 different and ones?
Jeez, you might be right.
Probably. Honestly, because when the second one went down, I was like, wait, is this the first time this ever happened? So I was thinking
I mean,
the same thing.
well, even the fact early on he had that savage dunk that was the first and one on the pick and roll with Chris Paul, and I think what was so impressive was with that is when he got the ball, he attacked. You could see a split second where he was like, "Oh shit, nobody's here, and I've got a wide open lane," and he attacked. And instead of passing out or settling for the jumper, and I knew right there that something different was about to occur. You real quick, I want to get Det Nibble says in the chat, jailhouse on Jefferson where the warden locks people up.
There you go.
That's a good
man.
one. That's
Saul
a good
being
What was
one
the
of
first
them.
one? Jinx.
Yes, Saul.
Jailhouse. Saul was the first inmate.
He's the first inmate in the jailhouse on Jefferson. So, but again, DeAndre Ayton, just a fantastic job. And to Dave's point, there's going to be adjustments moving forward. And I think that that's obviously going to be the primary adjustment that the Denver Nuggets are going to have to make is try to find ways to free up Jokic even more. You did see Jokic hit a couple of those 3-pointers, and DA came up on him, and then he did the spin move and went right next to him. So expect, Jokic to try to find that outside shot a little bit more in an effort to try to free up his offense a little bit more. But Dave, I'm muting you. All right. Go ahead.
He's
There's
yelling
just
at somebody right.
somebody's like, I see like sirens behind you or something. Is Saul getting arrested
arena.
behind
Saul
you?
escape?
No, sorry guys, I brought the wrong
No.
equipment tonight, so you can.
No,
hear
you're
everything.
fine. You're fine. But
You're good.
but I was just saying, I think that those adjustments for Jokic are going to be the primary thing that we're going to have to be ready for in the second game.
Yeah, but I think Ayton will make those adjustments defensively as well, because there were times where he gave Jokic too much space, gave him the 3, which set him up. But I think he'll adjust too. This is going to be another chess match. It's going to be Mike Malone versus Monty Williams in just adjusting, and it's quarter to quarter and timeout to timeout. I don't think this is going to be wholesale changes are going to do it. By the way, did Dave look like he was calling in from the restroom at the arena?
Yeah. I didn't want to say anything. Where are these guys calling in from? Come
I
on.
have no idea. They're finding parts
This
of
is
the
a
arena that
professional show. All right, we're trying to entertain the people.
Professional show.
professional show. But so other than opportunity for DeAndre Ayton, what else did you see from him, Matthew? I know you're the body language guy. You like to see his aggressiveness or lack thereof. It looked like he was hunting boards. I did notice that there was, at the beginning, the first half of the game, and tell me if you noticed this, Matthew, he was letting Jokic beat him down the court. He had a whole series of Marc Gasol and Andre Drummond and not having to get back on defense every time. And Jokic took advantage of that a little bit in the first half. Do you see that?
Yeah, that was part of the plan, though, to let Jokic get a little bit tired, right? Just let him run up and down the floor.
Win sprints.
So, yeah, but no, DA, he gathered himself. I think there's some possessions where he kept alive by just getting the rebound and, just finding himself underneath the basket with the ball and putting it back in. So a lot of things like that were happening for Ayton today. Those are just things that, those hustle plays, you can tell he is there and ready to play. And that's one thing before going into the series, we knew he was ready to play. And what better way for him to really put up great stats? And it's going to be against the MVP of the league. Even though Jokic is not great defensively, but it looks good for Ayton to put up those stats against a guy like Jokic who will match him with the stats, probably not assist wise, but they're going to be there battling head to head. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great series, dude. And Ayton's going to be there every night playing this well.
One of the series that really kind of was a microcosm of Ayton's entire game was he got the rebound, kicked it out, they missed it. He got the rebound again, he kicked it out, they missed it, and he got it, and he shot it and made it point blank range there in the fourth. And that was it epitomized the hustle that he was putting in all night. It was an impressive just night in general, energy wise. The knock on him is, he coasts from time to time. There was no coasting tonight, nor has there been much at all in either of these playoff series so far. DeAndre Ayton is locked in, and you gotta love to watch it on both ends of the court. It's fantastic.
It shocks some. It doesn't shock me. I think that I've been in the camp of the Ayton apologetic camp kind of throughout the year. It's like, hey, it's the regular season, and you're dead right, Espo. I mean, this entire playoffs, he's been fantastic. And Matthew, you're dead right too. Like, this is going to be a really fun series to watch because the adjustment. Even at halftime, we were down by 1 point. I was like, you know what? The Suns might lose this game. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll tell you this: this is fun basketball right now. Seeing the run, seeing the back and forth, seeing the ability to hang with them and them to hang with us. I mean, this is just fun basketball to watch. And then it got even real fun in that third quarter and going into the fourth quarter. CP3, I want to bring him up and talk about him for just a couple minutes. 21 points on 8 for 14 shooting. He had 11 assists, so a double-double for the point guard tonight. He also had 6 rebounds and 2 for 3 from deep. And I think when he hit that first three-pointer, I think everybody who is a Suns fan just kind of had one of those just like, wipe your brow, get the sweat off your brow moments, because you're like, you know what? He looks good. And then he found his mid-range game and was locked the fuck in the fourth quarter and took the team home. And, I mean, it was just fantastic to see. It gives you confidence moving forward in the series because that's the X factor. On paper, we should beat this team. We should. Health is always going to be the X factor in any series. And seeing him come into the series and be as healthy as he is just really amped me up and got me excited.
It felt like he almost pulled a little rope-a-dope too, like where it was like, okay, I'm not going to really show you what I'm capable of in this first half. I'm going to keep you guessing. And the second they needed it, he came through. Like, I mean, it was, the Nuggets make that run in the third, and then Chris Paul was like, yeah, thanks. Now it's time for me to show you this. The shoulder's actually healed. Surprise. You're in trouble now. And that was just, it was just the way he played in that second half of the game. He just came out, was hitting the middies, hit that three, like was getting to the rim, was getting assists. Like, it was the Chris Paul we saw the whole year. Come back in this game. And, he did this throughout the year too. There were a lot of first halves that were just pedestrian by Chris Paul, and all of a sudden he turned it on. So I feel 100% confident in him the rest of the series after seeing what he was able to do in game 1.
Yeah, have fun, Nuggets, trying to adjust next game to CP3 actually probably being 95%. He looked really good in the fourth, man, because I think he found like Jay Crowder like 5 times in the row in the corner of just maneuvering the offense. So tonight they looked wide open, right? All these shots from the outside. They're going to probably be even more wide open if they try to adjust to CP3 and try to handle him, in his mid-range shot, even though he can get off against anybody. If they're going to try to adjust to that, it's going to open up even more for the rest of the team. So that's going to be actually kind of exciting to see next game because, like Espo said, in the regular season, he would just play like whatever in the first half and it'd come out and in the fourth quarter just end it. Like he's just on his little island in mid-range, just draining shots from 3, and the game's over. So we saw that tonight. That is a really good sign for the Suns team.
And I'll tell you what's a great sign for the Suns team is pure and utter balance. And again, you talk about adjustments that Denver's going to have to make, and it's going to be hard for them to make a ton of adjustments because of the balance displayed by the Phoenix Suns. You had 4 of your 5 starters score 20 points or more, and Jay Crowder is the only one who didn't. He had 14 points. But here's the balance, okay? No Suns starter shot less than 12 shot attempts or more than 14. Booker had 12 shot attempts. Bridges had 12 shot attempts. Crowder and Ayton both had 13 shot attempts, and Chris Paul had 14 shot attempts. That, my friends, is balance. That is hard to beat.
Yeah, that's the way it's been a lot, though, this year, I feel like, with the Suns. That's spread out.
Yeah, I think that's hard to replicate throughout a 7-game series.
Agreed.
Agreed. This, especially with how balanced not just the shots were, but the scoring in general. When you look at Bridges 23, Ayton 20, Paul and Booker each with 21. Like, that's not going to be the norm in this series. At least it would surprise me significantly if that's the norm. But you also got to imagine Campazzo having 14 points isn't going to be the norm in this series either. And Aaron Gordon with 18 when he averaged 12 last series and 10 points when he came over to the Nuggets won't be the norm in this series either. It would be amazing if they could keep that balance. I just don't think they will. But what will happen is with CP3 showing that he can shoot again, that's probably going to ease things a little bit more for Devin Booker as well, because they can't overcompensate on that. So that'll be good. You'll see more offensive firepower from Devin Booker at some point in this series, because he will be matched up against Austin Rivers and Campazzo. He won't always have to have that Aaron Gordon matchup that was problematic at times, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, if you can get anywhere near this balance, this is an easy series for the Suns. I just don't think they will get that balance as often as we'd like to see.
And Aaron Gordon, we talked about him really quick, like last pod, kind of let him do what he wants to do. Did it kind of seem like that tonight, to where he had the mismatches, but I feel like he was like the only problem for the Suns tonight in a way. And I think that's a good thing. If Aaron Gordon's going off and he's hard to stop and that's your only worry, that's good for the Suns.
Yes and no. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the adjustments
besides Jokic
that the Suns are going to have to make, is those Booker mismatches. Having Booker guarded by Gordon and trying to guard him himself is something that, if they need easy points, you want to take that away at some point. So you can throw some more doubles at him is probably what I think that they'll do. But real quick, I just want to give a shout out to all of the Jamsters and Flaming Ballers who are watching along live. Damasked One just dropped $50 on the super chat. So cheers to you, Damasked One. I'm going to drink some beer for you. And then his
money and beer. I love it.
Yes. And his dudeness dropped $5. He says, how about Craig's hustle? Me, oh my. And I think that's go ahead, Espo. Talk about Torrey Craig.
Torrey Craig's a guy I'd like to see on Aaron Gordon at times, and match him up, because he's not going to give up the ground that we saw. The problem is the switching on defense is how you wound up with Devin Booker in that situation at times. That's not the matchup Monty's going for. He's not going, let's put Devin on Aaron Gordon. The Nuggets were just really good at rotating their offense and creating those mismatches, which will be, like everybody said, an adjustment that Monty Williams will need to make. But man, Torrey Craig, can you believe the Bucks just gave him away? The Bucks who were down by almost 50 tonight just gave away Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
That just
all the
blows
gold,
my
dude.
mind.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing, man. And even last series, I feel like Torrey Craig kind of had a hard time trying to find himself in that series. This series, I feel like him and Sarge maybe not as much, but he's going to find himself, like tonight. Just the aggression, dude. He can go at that team, at that front line whenever he wants, because you forget how good he is around the rim, right? Trying to finish. He had that and one almost. He got so upset about it, because he usually can finish those around the rim, but he'll get a lot of minutes in this series, I hope.
He almost had a double-double tonight, 9 points and 8 rebounds. He was all over the place, and he did it in only 17 minutes. I mean, he was spectacular. It's been repeated over and over, like Reggie Miller had it on his mind or something. But Torrey Craig knows this Nuggets team well. I mean, he played there for 3 years. As the broadcast continued to mention over and over, he still has friends there. Surprise, you play somewhere for 3 years and you still have some friends there. I mean, apparently, if you're not a Morris brother, that can happen. So, so Torrey Craig just knows it, and he's a guy that obviously is not taking his opportunity for granted. I'm excited to see what he continues to be able to do as we go along.
And to Matthew's point, when you're playing the Lakers and their size is just massive, he's not as effective, but he still was effective in that series. And there's a reason why we call him the Juice, or at least I call him the Juice. I'm probably the only one who does actually call him the Juice. It's because he gets that crowd going, and that's exactly what he did. When CP3 was coming down the court and Torrey Craig was sprinting towards the rim, everyone on TV saw it, and they're like, dude, get it to Torrey. And Torrey was looking at him. He just said,
What's up?
And then boom, just dropped the hammer. The place went wild. As Dave said, the most impressive moment of the night was probably that alley-oop. It was kind of the exclamation point. And, he's going to have a successful series because he has the size, because he has the hustle, and he has all the physical gifts that our boy Dario Saric doesn't.
The Sarge smoke break.
But I'll tell you this, Dario, he tried and he looked decent tonight. You know, he had an and one where he actually dunked the ball. I don't think that was a foul, though. I think that was a foul on the rim. Am I wrong?
I think he just fell.
I love Dario so much.
Dario,
He has a play of the year again.
Dario looks like Bambi on the ice. Like has no footing. Is
Worse than
falling all
Porzingis.
over the place. Like, God bless the guy, and he put out effort tonight. It's not that, but man, yeah, it looked like somebody shot him when he went up for the dunk, and I don't think anybody really touched him. It was entertaining.
Yeah,
I'll
the
say that.
rim got him on that one.
That's what I said. I said, God bless him. Every time he does anything on the court,
just
I'm like, God bless his little heart. I love Sarge. He probably has a big heart. Probably a really nice dude. And that turnaround jump shot that got the roll, the bounce off the rim, he's 2 for 2 on those.
That was the dumbest look I've ever seen.
Well, yeah,
I think
but
he hit the
it's the
side of the
best.
rim.
Yeah,
know.
He did his best Booker
Dario,
impression
though.
as the the shot clock was expiring and somehow it went in. It was just like I was like, "Fuck!" You just know it's your night when Dario Sarge is hitting a fadeaway Devin Booker, 18-footer.
He did that game 5 too,
Coach
right?
Jim
Against the Lakers.
in the chat with the line of the night. Dario Sarge has DeAndre Ayton's hands for feet.
Yes.
That is a fantastic description there. But man, he tries really, really hard.
And I love Chris Paul
that's
trying to alley-oop
Dario.
it to him.
That's Dario.
Seriously. I mean, he puts a smile on your face, right? Even when CP3 is trying to throw alley-oops to him still twice in the game or trying to get him the ball underneath the rim. I love that stuff. Keep him involved.
Well, and I'll tell you, we talked about adjustments, and I knew Dario would get some minutes in this series because they have a smaller front line and the opportunity to be there. He got 9 minutes, had the 5 points, which we've mentioned on every way that he scored a point tonight. So, I mean, but his transition defense just not good. There's a couple times where he just wasn't good in transition, was lost and left wide open shooters. And, part of those runs, at the beginning of the second quarter, he was responsible for 6 of those points because he left 2 guys wide open. Paul Millsap's 3. He was supposed to be on him. And he's, like you said, Bambi on ice, just running down the court. So we'll see what that adjustment is for Monty moving forward. But you got to give love. Because
why'd you have to bring that up,
Dario?
Dude? Now I'm upset.
Dario, I feel like his highlight reel should be to the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme.
Yes.
Look, he got it done tonight. It didn't have to be pretty, and he helped get this team a win. So congratulations, Dario.
I'll
send you a couple extra cases of your smokes for the next smoke.
There you go. Some couple cartons of ciggies. Okay. Looking at Denver, I think that as Dave mentioned, Espo, you're going to be going on with the Denver Stiffs guy later tonight. And I think one thing that he'll, I'm getting you prepared for that. The fouls are going to be something that he's definitely going to be talking about. You look at total number of free throws shot. The Suns shot 20. The Denver Nuggets shot 6. We were plus 12 at the free throw line tonight. Total fouls called, 17 on Denver, 12 on the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, Nikola Jokic was trying to get those calls come the fourth quarter. That's his game. He likes to wear you down in the beginning of the game. And again, kudos to DeAndre Ayton. We didn't mention he had 1 foul tonight. One foul on DA.
It came late in the second, too, which was awesome. Reggie Miller pointed that out. So
I'm surprised he didn't say it 7 times. Yes.
He did.
Yeah, but
that's why we all remember it.
He said it 6. He didn't get to 7. He didn't kick the extra point on there.
Well, it's like Devin Booker with 3-pointers in the regular season, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But when you look at what Denver Nugget fans are going to be talking about tomorrow, it's just that. And we have to kind of mentally prepare for that next game where it's going to probably even out a little bit. That's just kind of the way the NBA works. We saw it in the first series with the Los Angeles Lakers. The Suns were not getting any foul calls in the first game. And in the second game, we got some of those calls and we actually ended up winning that game. So what did you guys see from the refs? Anything, I hate talking about the refs, but I thought we should bring it up.
Yeah.
Look, you're 100% right. I already heard it from Nuggets fans and a couple Nuggets media members that I follow as well. You already heard the boo-hoo, we didn't have as many free throws. Well, guess what? Even if you had the same exact number and you made all of them, you still would have lost this game by, it wouldn't have mattered in that case, but I get it. And what will happen is that the free throws will shift when the series shifts to Denver. No longer are you playing a super team. So what will happen is the home team gets the better calls. I mean, I just feel like that's the way it's going to go back and forth. Is that the Suns will get the home cooking when the crowd's there for them. The Nuggets are going to get it in Denver, and you just have to accept that that's part of the game and the way these things are called.
Plus, they shot 43, so it's like you can't complain too much. And the Suns, usually when these differences are this large apart, the Suns only had 20 attempts. I feel like that's not that much, right? That's like a normal Suns game. We only get like 15 or 20 free throw attempts a game. So it's not like we had these extra calls. I didn't notice it too much. I honestly didn't watching the game. I did not know. I thought the fouls were actually fouls. So I usually will admit too if there's not it's a no call, but it was an even called game, I thought.
Well, just and the pace of this game didn't allow for a lot of calls too. I mean, that's the other thing. This was a very fast-paced game. This wasn't a methodical game like we saw with the Lakers. And reminder, Anthony Davis had 21 free throws by himself in a game against the Suns last series. So 20 free throws for a whole team for the entire game, not that many.
No, it's not that much.
Literally the point I was just going to make. So stat me, Espo. That was very well done. Tell me. All right. So one, I got two questions. What are your thoughts on Campazzo and how do you say his first name? Facundo?
Frankie? Isn't it Frankie?
It's like Facundo. They call him like "fuck you" or something in the Denver. Because I think the SB Nation.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
I'm going to be calling him that as well if he keeps playing like this in the series. I mean, he's not the first Argentinian point guard we've hated in the playoffs,
what I thought.
But he certainly, hopefully, will be the last and won't last too long against this team. I mean, he stepped up. He played well, and especially in that first half, and it was not something that was expected because everybody thought the point guards, the guards in this matchup for Denver were going to get toasted, and it didn't really happen until the second half. But I don't think that's something that will continue throughout this series.
Yeah, I mean, good thing LeBron didn't move on to the next round because he had to back this guy down and struggle with that guy because he's tiny. I mean, he probably would have given him some fits. But I thought he was like a painter or like his dad's a famous painter or something like that.
Campazzo.
I thought originally I thought he was Italian, and then I realized no, he's too annoying. He's got to be like
he's got to be Argentinian.
Yeah, it's got to be Argentinian.
Well, I mean, he had 11 points in the first half, and that's exactly what everybody was thinking. And again, Reggie Miller said it 40 times. He's just like, man, Campazzo's having this amazing game. Oh, this amazing steal by Campazzo. It's like, no, like DeAndre Ayton fumbled the ball, and Campazzo just happened to be the guy who got it. So he is somebody who's going to be a thorn in our sides. But as you mentioned, Espo, a lot of people said coming into the series that we would have a clear advantage on the guards. Austin Rivers, I mean, he's bad. Like, Devin Booker was having his way with him early, and then as you mentioned, the switches were happening. Mikal Bridges, he took advantage of him late, and again, shout out to Mikal Bridges. Fantastic matchup for him to take advantage of. Austin Rivers is just he's not good. I mean, there's a reason why the Oklahoma City Thunder waived him earlier this season, and he didn't have a team for a month.
Look, I don't think he's that bad. I think he's just repaying James Jones for letting him go when they acquired him. So when the Suns acquired him, so it's just payback. Really, is what I think it is.
Yeah, and honestly, last series he shot very, very well against a bad defensive team. This time, it's not going to happen. And honestly, he probably won't even be on the team right now if they didn't have the injuries they had. So he's filling in right now, and he's probably going to try the best he can out there. But he's a guy that thinks he's better than he is because he got that one steal. I'll bring it up again. Chris Paul just let him slide across the floor and just took the ball and went up the court. That was beautiful. It's like, dude, what are you trying to do over here?
He was like on a slip and slide, But I mean, that's who Austin Rivers is. He's Doc Rivers' kid. He has that confidence. I mean, he was the number 2 overall prospect back in 2014. He played at Duke, was a star at Duke. So he's always going to have confidence in himself and belief. The skill isn't necessarily there. And defensively, the Suns know where they want to attack. And that's where the offense started. And then, kind of continued throughout the remainder of the game with Mikal Bridges and ultimately Chris Paul as well. I mean, they carved that guy up. So
Booker had that one move on him where he crossed him over, spun, pulled up as he blew by him.
He's just so Kobe right now.
Nice try.
He's so Kobe.
He's so Kobe. Everything he's doing looks like Kobe.
You know, it really does. So before we get to our Jam Star, this is a reminder for everybody that Suns Jam Session podcast is brought to you by Just Sports. Enter the code SUNSJAM at checkout for any of your online orders and receive 15% off of your purchase. That's right. Let them know that the Suns Jam Session guy sent you. Again, that is promo code SUNSJAM when checking out at shopjustsports.com. I'm not as creative as Espo, where I can just like randomly come up with things off the cuff talking about Manscaped or Just Sports. So I made the promo myself, so I don't have to say it every time I do the podcast.
Is it true if I mention that you sent me at an in-store, they throw me out though?
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
That how it works?
Like,
Only
hold on,
online.
Are you one of those guys who litter this place with Suns Jam Session business cards and randomly in our merchandise? Get the frick out of here.
We had to give you a discount code, so you never did that shit again in our store.
That's exactly what happened.
No, those guys are good. I was at the location over in Santan, the Santan Mall over the weekend, and some of the coolest merch I've seen for the Suns fans out there. So highly recommend, whether you're checking it out online or going in store, check out Just Sports.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and it's so nice to see just that huge display when you walk in. I've waited so long, so many times I've had to go like try to find it in the back, and there's one hat and it doesn't.
Yeah, there's
fit.
one hat. It's like
There's
upside
one-
down on the floor.
Yeah, somebody tried it on and took it off. So, but it is that time of the podcast.
Jam Star of the Game.
And I think this is a really interesting Jam Star of the Game. So if you're watching along live on YouTube, let us know in the chat who your Jam Star of the Game is. There's you could say about 3 or 4 different guys.
Yeah.
So Matthew, I'll start with you. Who is your Jam Star of the Game?
I think I'm just going to go Chris Paul. He sealed the deal for the Suns. I mean, all around a great effort from everybody, right? All our starters, the bench really proved themselves tonight. But Paul he finished it off, dude. And he's Jam Star because he was like the one question going into the series and the rest of the playoffs is how healthy he's going to be. He looked great tonight, man. I mean, I can't say it enough. So he's definitely Jam Star.
Okay.
Oh, come on. It's Mikal Bridges. He had to wear extra long shorts they were dangling so big tonight. I mean, he came through on the defensive end from 3. He was cutting the hoop. Like, he did everything that you could want out of Mikal Bridges. And that's no disrespect to CP3 or Ayton tonight. You both had fantastic games, but Mikal Bridges said, you know what? I heard all this talk about DA getting big money because of the first series. Back up the brink struck for me because I'm going to have a big second series. So he's mine.
Yeah, I really think that you're right. Like, he's like, it's my turn now. I mean, again, there's no wrong answer here. And as I'm bringing up what everybody's saying along live in the chat, that's what everybody's kind of saying. It's Ayton, it's Bridges, it's Paul. I mean, so Matthew, you said CP3. Espo, you said Mikal Bridges. So I'll go with DA, man. I mean, flustering the MVP on a national scale. Everybody gets to see what we've already kind of seen this year when he plays against Nikola Jokic is he flusters him. He's athletic enough, long enough, and disciplined enough to not allow him to do everything that he wants. He was a wash. He took out the MVP and matched his stats and actually had better stats than he did. And we mentioned it on our what's the word? The last podcast, the series preview. And I'm bringing up the graphic for those of you who are watching. It says Nikola Jokic, when guarded by DeAndre Ayton this season, was 13 for 34, which is 38%, 3 turnovers, blocked twice, 0 free throw attempts. It'll be interesting to see what those numbers are moving forward. As we see the advanced stats, we'll be able to see tomorrow and see what it is moving forward. But the ability to neutralize Nikola Jokic in any game, I don't care. The series is going to go 20 different ways. I mean, that's what a series is. It's highs, it's lows, it's ups and downs. This game personified that exact existence of a series. But to do it in at least one game to where you neutralized him, like, get ready for that DA love. It's coming. So that is why he is my Jam Star of the Game.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me what DA did because he did it throughout. He's done it throughout his matchups with Jokic, and I hope we see this back and forth. It's fun to watch 2 great centers go at it. It reminds me of the game we kind of grew up on. It's not the same throw it in the post that it was, but you got 2 bigs that are skilled going at each other on both ends of the floor. It was fun. I mean, especially when Ayton was hitting those mid-range jumpers over top of
Yes.
Jokic. I just love watching this. It's going to be fun watching those two guys go back and forth.
All
And
right,
also
so
Matthew Van Hoo's, those kids that went nuts after the alley oop. That was
Yes.
pretty cool. There's
Yeah.
like 10 of them just going crazy. I thought
they're
that was
going
cool.
crazy. That was fantastic. All right, so Dave, you're here just in time. Who is your jam star of the game?
Oh man, okay. My jam star of the game has to be Chris Paul. I don't know if you guys already named him, but
I did.
The way
I got yelled at for it.
you got yelled at for
Didn't.
it.
No, you didn't.
Just-
It's not here.
They
No,
protect me.
Chris Paul owned that fourth quarter. He just decided I'm still Chris Paul, and this is how this game is going to end. The rest of the guys actually got that 9-point lead leading into the fourth quarter, but Chris Paul taking over right there, finishing everything up, finishing it off was just incredible.
So, did you see his post game conference or press conference, and what did he say? And tell those people to shut up. Say,
No, he
John
actually
Boyd
said-
tells you to shut up. They'll be like, who? Is
No.
Dave in the bathroom? Is the question.
Is David? No, sorry. I'm upstairs.
No, sorry.
I'm
I'm
in
not.
the
Next
I'm in the
time.
media area, and people are still walking by. It's hard to get a quiet spot here. What did Chris Paul say in the session after? You know what he said? He said these fans are crazy. He said this place is crazy, and that's why they play so well, and that's why they got the home court advantage. I mean, you guys were talking about fans just as I pop back in here. Every single person, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, they all say the fans are what's helping them play so well and kick off these playoff series right now. The Suns have always been really good on the road this year. They have the most road wins in the NBA. They won 2 out of 3 in LA. They don't need the fans to win games, but it really helps make it more fun for the fans when the fans are behind them, and to win these most important ones to set the tone properly in the series. I think this was incredible tonight, and man, these fans were nuts. And Mikal was even saying, you know what, even when we're down and we haven't made a shot in a while, we make one shot and the fans go crazy. It lifts us up. It gets excited and starts the run, because they were down 9 or 10 when that run started. And I heard 42-14 run. That is just crazy.
Jeez.
Over a Denver Nuggets team that came in hot and had won almost as many games as the Suns, and they'd figured out how to accommodate, without Jamal Murray. Now, of course, what we're going to do is we're going to hear everyone complaining, well, but Denver doesn't have Jamal Murray all of a sudden, now that they're not, now if they don't win, just like we heard about the Lakers if they don't win. So, but the Suns are just playing the teams on their schedule, and they're kicking their butts.
Look, again, I'm sorry if that Denver doesn't have a player. CP3 was hampered for the Lakers series. It happens, and as Suns fans, we know that all too well. The Danny Mannings of the world.
We're usually the ones suffering from those losses and we're the ones saying we only lost because we lose these other guys. Now it's okay to be the winner,
We'll take the other side of it for once. Thank you.
It's okay. The other thing is the continued ability for DeAndre Ayton to defend Nikola Jokic. I know you guys talked about this a lot tonight. I'm sure you did, but it is just incredible. And once again, DeAndre Jokic only had 22 points on 23 shots, and DeAndre Ayton only got 1 or 2 foul calls against him the whole game. Jokic was frustrated, but you know what? Jokic doesn't get a ton. We talked about this earlier. Doesn't get a ton of foul calls. Gets even less against Ayton. It was just really fun to watch.
Well, on that note, I think we're getting ready to wrap up this version of the podcast. But as we look at Game 2 Wednesday night, is there anything that we should be prepared for? Is there anything that you guys are looking for relative to adjustments? We've mentioned some of them here on the pod, but let's enjoy this win. It's a game, a day off, a game, a day off. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes right now. So you can't. It was actually kind of nice having a couple days off and enjoying that Lakers win. You got some time to analyze it, think about it, enjoy it, and then get ready for the series. But is there anything moving forward that you guys think that we should be prepared for?
A big Devin Booker game in Game 2. I just feel like they'll adjust. They'll find ways to get Devin those shots that he wasn't getting tonight, and I think he'll have a big game in Game 2.
Yeah, they took shots away. They schemed to take shots away from Chris Paul and Devin Booker tonight, and Booker and Paul combined for 19 assists. So Exactly what the way Espo said. Plus, they gave up a ton of corner threes because they had to rotate in and tag DeAndre Ayton. It's quite on his roles. It's quite possible they'll let Ayton score more or have more opportunities to score like the Lakers did and guard the three-point line better because it's better to give up 2 than 3. So we might see some adjustments similar to what the Lakers did. The problem for the Nuggets is they're not as good on defense as the Lakers were. So it's going to be tough for them to make all the adjustments. But that's what I would expect is the Suns won't get so many wide open corner threes, and Ayton might get a few more uncontested layups.
Yeah, and honestly, if the Suns could just find a way to stop Austin Rivers, that would be nice. We actually talked about him for like 20 minutes, I feel like, on this pod, which is way more than it should be.
You did?
No.
Yes, sorry.
No.
Lord.
Another game 2 prediction. I think Dave's going to see Guy Fieri in the media room critiquing the food. That's a game 2 lock for you.
Hey, he can
Put it
come
on
up
the
here and
board.
critique it anytime.
Diners, drive-ins, and Dave's. That's what we're going to have.
Let's bring it. Bring it.
Man. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up. I did want to say that, a game 4, which is going to be occurring at 5 p.m. on Sunday, we will be broadcasting live from the Four Peaks Tap Room in Tempe, Arizona. So if you get a chance, come down, hang out with us. Make sure you make a reservation because that place will be popping. They do $4 Suns brews there to celebrate. It's Sun Brew, but they call it Suns Brew during the game. So again, that's where we're going to be broadcasting from. So come join your homies, the Suns solar panel, and the Suns jam session for that game. I think that's everything. Dave's gone. He's out. So, no Dave, no Dice.
Ghost.
He's gone. He's just Kaiser Sose us. So this is a reminder to everybody again who's watching along live. Please hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Helps with the algorithms and science and such. Lets everybody know where they can find the best Phoenix Suns content on the interwebs. If you are listening on the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network, go ahead, subscribe, rate, and review. And if you leave a 5-star review via Apple Podcasts, we'll actually read it live right here on the show. And let's see what the heck. All right, I'm going to read some because we have some. 1 second, folks. This is great radio, television stuff.
If you provide me one for the next post game, I'll read it as Lon Babby. That's what I'll do for you.
All right. Well, I'll read these 2. I got 2 here. I'll read these as Kermit the Frog. How's that?
Oh, okay. Please do.
All right. This is from.
I don't like this. I hate these impressions.
Yeah. Okay,
Sorry, I can't
I'll
do the Kermit the Frog.
I know you and Shannon both hate it. Freaking hate it. So this is it's called Why It's a 5-Star Podcast from Fines 124760. Miss Piggy. Super cool dudes. I can't do it. Started watching you guys after the bubble. Made this season even better. Cannot wait to see the future has in store for our Phoenix Suns. Rally the Valley, baby. And then I'll do the best podcast out there from Sad Amo 13 in Peter Griffin voice. Oh my God. My first podcast review, and this is honestly the only one I will regularly listen to. So much passion and fun. Go Suns. Hashtag BDB and a hashtag BPP. That's Big Dick Booker and Big Penis Paul.
Did you put LOL on those laughs or what?
No, I
love your impressions. It's the Kermit the Frog one. Sometimes it makes me feel weird. I don't know what it is.
I love
it's not
that.
you, John.
I love that you went.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Well, they were calling me Peter Griffin when I. Didn't have
I remember that. Yeah, when you shaved the beard. That's right.
Thank God this thing's back. My best friend. So.
Yeah, it's been a good playoff run for the beard. Matthews is growing out. Yours is growing out. Mine's staying where it was.
Wait, Matthews growing one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it whistling in the wind right here. See that?
We've officially gone off the rails, ladies and gentlemen. So, Espo, any parting words before we take off tonight?
Yeah. Let's get the thing back on the rails before Wednesday night.
Amen.
Not gonna happen.
Matthew?
Everyone go home and love your family.
All right, we shall. And again, thank you to Zane Zor for this little ditty right here called Mug the Nugs.
I wanna hear you scream Mug the Nugs, my mug the Nugs. Hey. Mug the Nugs, my mug the Nugs. Yeah. Mug the Nugs, my mug the Nugs. Hey. Mug the Nugs, my mug the Nugs. Yeah. Mug the Nugs. nugs, my mug, mug the nugs. Mug the nugs, my mug, mug.